All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started. So, welcome to this month's Department of Navy Oracle Technology Spotlight. For today's topic, we will be discussing how Oracle construction and engineering software solutions can help sharpen the tools in your project delivery toolbox to the cloud. Part 2. My name is J.R. Lazo, and I'm the Oracle account manager here supporting the Department of Navy here at DLT. Before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. For Dawn customers on NMCI, we recommend using the Zoom link to view today's presentation. If dialing in, Zoom features will not be available. All lines will be muted during the presentation. If you have any questions, please enter them in the Zoom Q&A. We'll do our best to address these questions throughout the presentation, but we'll also have some time towards the end for a Q&A. If you're having any technical issues, please message Felicia Cortez or the panelists via the Zoom chat. This tech spotlight will be recorded, and a copy of the recording will be made available next week on the Dawn Marketplace. If you'd like a copy of this brief sent directly to you, please enter your name and email in the chat section, and we will send a copy once it's made available. So a quick review of today's agenda. To lead off, I will be providing a brief overview of the Dawn Oracle 3 Enterprise Software Agreement. Then Eileen Sherman and Danielle Pierce, solution consultant with Oracle, will be providing an overview as well as a live demo of Oracle's construction engineering solutions and how we can revolutionize your project management processes. Also, please note that this is part 2 of a 2-part series. If you'd like to review part 1 after today's webinar, you can do so by going to the DLT Marketplace and view past and on-demand webinars. Following the demo, we will open up the floor to Q&A. So a quick overview of the Oracle Enterprise Agreement. In May 2023, NavSub awarded DLT an enterprise software agreement for Oracle licenses and services for a 5-year term. Authorized users of this agreement is the Department of Navy, including U.S. Marine Corps and approved contractor support. The managing activity for this agreement is the Enterprise IT Strategic Sourcing Program, or PNW 290. At the bottom of this slide, you will find a link to the DLT Marketplace, which is where this recording will be made available, but will also have information and resources regarding this agreement. So the Enterprise Agreement can be broken down into 2 distinct parts, the Unlimited License Agreement and the Agency Catalog. In regards to the Unlimited License Agreement, authorized users have unlimited use to Oracle Core Technology licenses, including maintenance and support. Core Tech licenses include all versions of Oracle Database, WebLogic Suite, and the Database Management Packs. The Unlimited License Agreement is centrally funded by the Department of the Navy. In other words, what typically would roughly cost $60,000 for a single server license for Oracle Database is now a $0 ITPR as a result of this agreement. Navy users can obtain access to these licenses by submitting a Memorandum of Agreement, or MOA for short, through the DLT Marketplace. In regards to the agency catalog, Navy customers can procure most of Oracle's remaining software licenses and cloud services that are not part of the Unlimited License Agreement, including the software solutions we'll be discussing today, at a pre-negotiated discount via the agency catalog, which is static through May 2028. To procure licenses and cloud services available on the agency catalog, authorized customers should reach out to the Navy Oracle team at DLT for ordering procedures. As a reminder, per the Dawn CIO, this enterprise agreement is a mandated source of supply where all Dawn organizations and programs are required to use this agreement for their Oracle needs in order to achieve maximum cost savings through May 2028. This slide highlights some key benefits of the Oracle 3 Enterprise Software Agreement. I won't go into each one, but there are a few I want to highlight. First point is that the ESLA improves Navy's buying and negotiation power for maximum discount and cost avoidance. It also provides a centralized ordering platform via the DLT Marketplace, which enables greater visibility, oversight, and control over software procurements. It also eliminates the requirement for a justification and approval, or J&As for short, for catalog purchases at the ordering level. Last point I want to highlight pertains to licensing virtual environments. This agreement allows Navy customers to reduce cost by using virtual processors as a license boundary for Oracle software calculations. This slide just provides a recap or a summary of what Oracle software is available via the unlimited license agreement and the agency catalog. To reiterate, in order to gain access to the licenses available on the unlimited license agreement, i.e. the license on the left-hand side of the slide, you would need to submit a MOA via the DLT marketplace. To procure licenses via the agency catalog, you would need to reach out to the Navy Oracle team at DLT for ordering procedures. This slide provides additional details as to who our authorized users of this enterprise agreement are. To summarize, all Department of Navy organizations or principal elements of the Navy can leverage this contract, except for when the Navy is serving as a Department of Defense executive agent or an entity which the Department of Navy is serving as the Department of Defense Combatant Command Support Agent and Navy Special Access Programs. This slide has a link to the DLT marketplace and a screenshot of the homepage. If you need assistance with accessing the portal or marketplace, please reach out to the Navy Oracle team at DLT. And with that said, that concludes the Oracle Enterprise Software Agreement overview. Next up, you'll be hearing from Eileen and Danielle from Oracle for an overview and a live demo of Oracle's construction and engineering solutions and how they can revolutionize your project management processes. Danielle, Eileen, take it away.
All right, thank you, JR. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so I'm just popping this up. This is just to say that, please read through this, and everything I'm showing you, don't make buying decisions, and we are going to be recording this. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today. So my name is Eileen Sherman, and I have been with Primavera for over 20 years. And myself and Danielle Pierce is also going to be presenting. And what we're going to be talking about today, if you attended the solution of the presentation a few weeks ago, Alicia talked a lot about what we're doing in the FedRAMP space. So what we're going to do today is deep dive into two of those offerings today. So the first one we're going to talk about, I'm going to be going through Oracle Primavera Cloud. And that is our cloud solution that focuses on portfolio, schedule, resource, and risk. Then Danielle is going to cover Aconex, and she's going to be walking you through, a presentation and live demo of Aconex. And then finally, we will leave about 10 minutes for questions. Okay, so Oracle Primavera Cloud. So just to step back a little bit and talk about, what is the product as a whole. So there was a couple major themes when we were building this. The first was take the existing IP that we've had as Primavera, over our long tenure of being in the market. The cornerstone of that was P6. P6 is built on older technology, so we, started with that type of functionality and rebuilt it into the cloud technology. So the major themes there were to have parity, right? We have tons of customers using P6. They love it today. It has to have that advanced functionality. And then we also know that it has to be better than P6, right? If we want people to make the transition, we want to make sure that capabilities are there that will make it attractive for them to move. For those of you familiar with our Primavera risk analysis tool, that too has been in the Primavera family for a long time, and it focuses on capturing your schedule risk and running Monte Carlo analysis to give you a better indication of what your project cost or end date might be when risk is taken into account. And then the third one is our Oracle Primavera portfolio management product. And this is, the ability to help people capture and prioritize the work that they're going to be doing. And then the second theme, which we're not really to be talking too much today about, but I did want to mention was, where do we have white space? And where, one of the areas that we also built into the solution is the ability to do lean last planner. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about first is portfolio management. So portfolio management, what we set out to do, a lot of people today, if they are trying to figure out and, manage their portfolio, capture everything, prioritize it, a lot of times it's happening in Excel and there's a lot of inefficiencies with that if it's really formalized at all. So what we're doing for our customers is allowing them to give them a platform where you can capture all of your potential work and, give the portfolio managers and capital planners the visibility that they need to make informed decisions. And we're doing all of that by following the portfolio management life cycle. So focusing on ideation, scoring, evaluating, and prioritizing your portfolios. So where all that begins is ideation. So what we allow you to do, and you'll hear me say throughout this presentation, it's very customizable. And I think that's really important, especially when we're talking about something like portfolios and you're, trying to capture that new work that you could potentially be doing. So at the beginning of that process is ideation. We have an interface that very easily allows you to configure what different fields that you want captured. So all the different columns and any other information that you want to be captured in order to help you make these decisions can be added into a form and then sent through a workflow. There's a very easy workflow available that will allow you to have the idea go through workflow to decide whether you want to actually move it in as a feature or not that you want to prioritize. So that's really the beginning of it, capturing all of that work. We're then going to allow you to score that work, right? Once you have all of the potential projects that you could be doing entered, the next piece of that is that you want to be able to score them, right? Typically, there could be lots of items and it could be overwhelming. So, what we're going to allow you to do is prioritize, and most importantly, prioritize on the different indicators that are important to you. So you can see here, I have a couple up here, sustainability, innovation, and then you can break them down even into subcategories and then even what the values are that you're going to score against. So, a lot of benefits to this, having it all in one spot. If you look down below, we have, different graphical views, for example, here an investor map that's really going to help you be able to focus in on, the different analysis so you can make your accurate decisions. Then we also have a whole module or page dedicated to capital planning. All right. So again, once we've captured all of those potential projects, we now allow you to build out the budget. So, you can see here on the right-hand side, I have, and this is customizable as well, but I have the different years going across the top so that you can map out what the budgets will be over time for doing this project. So this is another very important piece, to determining what you will actually be able to get in and make sure that you're aligning it to the priorities of your organization. You can see down here below, there's water lining as well. All right. So if you once you plug in all that information, you can have automatic scoring take place and even have the system build a water line based off of all the data that you're feeding it. And then fund management. That's another really important component, right? You want to make sure that you're tracking all of the funding appropriately. So we allow you to, deal with the allocation, appropriation, and consumption of funds, right? So we allow you to track all of that and evaluate that to make sure that you're, hitting your thresholds and not going over what you are allocating. And then finally, scenario analysis. So scenario analysis, once you have all that information in, we allow you to create different scenarios, right? That's an important piece to figuring out what are the right projects that you should be working on. All right, so we're going to allow you to analyze all of that data in the criteria that makes sense to you and create as many scenarios as you need so that you can compare them against each other. So as you can see, there's a ton of functionality here, a lot available graphically to make your life easier and ensure that you have that full visibility to be, working on those right projects. The next area, and I will go into the product when I'm finished with this section. So we will actually be looking at Oracle Primavera Cloud Live. But what we're going to be focusing next is more on the schedule management. So, if you remember in that initial slide, we'll be talking about some of the P6-like functionality as well as that risk analysis functionality. So the first thing, when we're talking about the scheduling component of Oracle Primavera Cloud, one thing that's important for customers, contractually as well, is that you can take in P6 files. So you can see on that first screenshot, the first item is you can import in P6 files, whether that's XER or XML. You can also import in from Excel or Microsoft Project. And I'll show you a project when we get into the product that I actually imported in so you can see all the data that comes in. So, that's one option is to import in from P6 or MSP. You can also create templates so that when you create a new project, you can copy from a template. And really a lot of the value that customers get is all of the projects in one spot, right? So we have the ability to create a project hierarchy so that you can capture all of the projects across all your different divisions in one place, in that single hierarchy. As far as scheduling goes, it is built off of the Primavera algorithm, right? So all of those, you can assure that when you're hitting F9 and scheduling the project in P6, you're going to get the same results when you're using Oracle Primavera Cloud. And with that comes inner project dependencies, the very customizable Gantt chart. You can have the ability to cost load schedules and also open multiple projects, right? So if you have, maybe you have multiple projects that make up a program, you can easily open those projects and manage them. And then simple schedule management as well. One of the things, I think one of the biggest dings on P6, for those of you familiar with it, is that it's a little bit complicated, right? It could be a little overkill depending on who you're rolling it out to. So what we've done to make sure is that when we were building this, that we also made it, although all that power that people need in order to do the scheduling of their projects is in there, you can also really, we dialed it back, right? So that the capabilities are there, but it's a lot easier if you're not looking for that advanced functionality. So we spend a lot of time working on the interface to really ease that adoption as you're rolling it out. And then I mentioned how we have some features that are above and beyond. One of those features is schedule comparison and analysis, right? So the ability to easily compare two versions of the schedule if you're receiving that from your third parties. Advanced resource management, all of that is in here as well. You can do resource management on a single project or across the enterprise. And then risk, right? So risk, we allow you to have a full register where you can track and score your risk and then run analysis so that you can gather what is the impact to the project once that risk is taken into account. So there's lots of charts available to help you determine, yep, your schedule says, you might be finishing here, but once you take the risk into account, it's actually going to be 6 months later. And then finally, once the risk, what you want to know is, okay, well, if there is risk to the schedule, where is the risk? And then that'll drill you in to focus in on the project. Where is the most risky activities and risks themselves? And I only have another, minute here, so I will just show here. This is Primavera Cloud. We did want to actually show you the product. So this is Primavera Cloud. Across the top here is showing the project that I've opened. If I break down this, this is the main navigation. So what I want to show you is really some of the power. One of the most important things about Primavera Cloud is I can open up a single schedule and within that schedule do all of the capabilities that I just showed you. Right? You can manage your activities, your work breakdown structure, your baselines, but I can also very easily toggle into all of that portfolio management capability that I was showing you. Resource capability, risk capability, right? So it's all here right off a menu. You just open a project, you don't have to worry about integrating, and you can navigate to different areas of the product. And this is an example of a project that I pulled in from P6. You can see that all the work breakdown structure elements come in, all the activities. If we go across the bottom, your resource assignments, all of your relationships. So all of that data comes in. So as well as your Gantt chart on the right. So, we had the capabilities to do all that advanced, and then just by toggling to the layouts, we can go into a more Excel-like view. So that was just a glimpse. And what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Danielle so she can start focusing on some of the Aconex capabilities.
All right, thanks, Eileen. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Oh,
Maybe try sharing again.
there we go.
There we go.
All right. So thanks, Eileen. My name is Danielle. I've been working with the Oracle Construction and Engineering unit for quite some time now, and I've really been focusing on the government and federal customers that we have. And Aconex, of course, is another one of the applications that has been accredited through Oracle. So we'll be focusing on secure dissemination, collaboration, and retention of project data. And we'll be looking at through the lens of packages just because of the time frame. So first off, what is Aconex? Aconex is a centralized multi-organization collaboration platform. And I know that's a mouthful, which is why we have it broken out. As far as the centralized piece, it is a centralized data environment, or CDE, that's going to promote project-wide collaboration. And when you think project-wide, that incorporates all of your delivery teams, all of your stakeholders, all of the project data to complete the entire record from start to finish. As far as multi-organization, this is referring to the way that Aconex actually stores and manages data, which each organization and project delivery team that's going to be working on the platform, each organization will receive their own workspace, because we know, and we knew when we acquired Aconex and when we have been working on the platform to promote upgrades, that not every single organization or even every single person has an objective view of how they want to manage their data. So we provided workspaces to each organization that also promotes their internal collaboration, and make sure that, as an owner of the actual project, you don't get all of the muck in your inbox. You just get what needs to be seen and when. And then this is a collaboration platform. It's meant to promote the correspondence between multiple different project delivery teams and ensure that your project is accurate, on time. It's also going to promote transparency and accountability within the platform itself and increases the adoption. All right. So as far as the accreditations that we've received, we started out with FedRAMP Moderate, which is going to be the government-wide approach to security assessment authorization, as well as continuous monitoring of cybersecurity products. So I'm sure you're all very familiar with FedRAMP. And then we took that a step further because we really wanted this to apply to the government and DoD organizations that we are constantly working with. And DISA, or Impact Level 4, is what we were certified for. So this applies additional controls to meet the necessary requirements to comply with the Defense Department's mission security requirements. So based on these two accreditations, we also do comply with CMMC Level 2.0. And then we have additional security details. So data encryption at rest and in transit, which covers the correspondence portion or the dissemination of data, and is also going to help with the contractors that you're working with and really corresponding with them in a secure way. And then automated continuous monitoring, that takes some of the risk off of the organizations that are actually utilizing Aconex or a project management platform. And because we're doing the actual monitoring of the system, along with rapid response times, and we have identity and access management. So a few additional considerations. Organizational two-factor verification is actually required on the platform. So that incorporates, the 2FV and then password complexity, and the identity and access management. So we also have a explicit invitation mode, which is automatically applied, which means that you are specifically inviting one specific person or organization at a time. And that way it's intentional. You're not adding anyone who doesn't need to be on the project or doesn't need to see that information to have visibility. So then we have a dedicated support desk, which is going to be US persons only, available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 20 p.m. US Central Time, and then a 2-hour maintenance window 2 times a week. And that is going to just ensure that, we have the proper controls in place on a weekly basis, and ensure that your information is safe and is compliant. So as far as what makes us different from other project management applications, one is the organizational data management. So the way that Aconex actually stores the data is at an organizational level view. Now we do have roles and permissions that can get very granular so that certain people aren't able to see certain information. And that is up to the organization at hand. But typically, all of the information is going to roll up into one view, which gives you visibility and holds people accountable to ensure that they're getting everything done so that your project is running on time. This also helps with turnover, so that when someone is, getting onto the project, they can actually see the information that has previously been discussed. Then guaranteed delivery. So unlike with, other correspondence platforms, you can ensure that your data is going to the right place and will be on time at all times. So permanent capture, Aconex will keep and maintain all of the information that is either uploaded or transmitted into the platform. So once it's there, there's no delete button, which is essentially what that means. And that leads into the ironclad audit trail. Again, there's no deleting any of the information. Each document, package, mail correspondence, they're all going to have an audit trail associated with them that helps you have visibility into when important decisions were made. And then data neutrality, this just ensures that the owning organization of the platform, we don't see them as, above the other organizations that are going to be delivering the project. So they all have their own workspace, they all maintain and control their own data. And this again promotes adoption of the platform so that any of the other project delivery teams or any third parties, any stakeholders, they can maintain and control their own information. And the Aconex information with all of these different benefits here have just actually held up in a court of law. So when you have any disputes, you can actually show this information. And then the trusted cloud service provider, Oracle has been here for a long time. We're not going anywhere. And we've also been working with the government for a long time. I mean, we started working out with the Department of Defense, and we're continuing to invest in the products so that you are able to utilize and maintain your own data in a secure space. All right, so for an example, this just shows the MGM National Harbor project, which actually utilized Aconex throughout the design and construction phase of the project. And it shows how, or it quantifies the amount of organizations, people, as well as tasks and all of the correspondence that has happened throughout this project. So if you really think of that on any other platform, it would just be a ton of different folders, a ton of different documents. No one knows where anything is. And then you might not have that audit trail capability to go back and see what decisions were made, who made the decision, and why. As far as the typical process on a construction site, typically we're working with all of these different organizations, right? And each one has their own method for registering information, for keeping track of information, and that creates silos of data. So they're fragmented teams, fragmented organizations. And when you start to, go through this process of corresponding on design documents or, what is supposed to be implemented and when are these deliveries coming, it can start to get out of hand. So this just showcases again, quantifying the amount of data that is going to be on a project and the correspondence that goes along with it. So as you can see, it typically can get out of hand pretty fast, because when you have all of these different applications that each organization is storing their information on, no one has the correct information at the right time. There's limited visibility and control. There's no context or historical insight. And of course, with a lot of other applications, they're not compliant when disseminating CUI data downstream, which is really an important part of this. As far as Aconex is concerned, as you can see, Aconex is underneath. It's going to be the platform where each different organization is invited to. So we can stop utilizing, third-party platforms or point solutions that keep those data silos. So Aconex aims at breaking down those silos to connect all of your project teams on one comprehensive platform. And again, with the different benefits, neutrality, security, and of course, the organizational view and our delivery principle, we've successfully managed to maintain all of the documents and important information on multiple projects. So this is an example of how information is actually passed along through Aconex. And again, each organization has their own workspace, so they can do their internal discussions and collaboration before they send the final project over to the appropriate organization. So as you send data, that now maintains in another organization's workspace so that they have the appropriate documentation, they can see the historical record of decisions, and then they maintain it as long as they need to. All right. So as far as the functionality within Aconex, or Aconex for Defense, of course, we have the accreditations here, but everything that you can see on the screen, such as, reviews, workflows, model, explore, so that you're able to actually plug in your federated models and see those while you're working on the job site. And then mail correspondence, which is definitely different from typical email. But we do have an Outlook plugin, which, because of the sensitive information that's in the platform, is only going to be a link back into Aconex to actually take care of those tasks and cover any actionables. Then bids and tenders, supplier documents, packages, which we'll be focusing on. We also have a mobile application. And then, of course, there are reports and an information repository within the platform itself. And then Field has also been deployed. So as you can see, that's down at the bottom, but that has been deployed at this point. So you would have the ability to utilize that as well. And that's for anyone working out in the field, doing inspections, creating daily field reports, etc. All right, so I am going to go ahead and jump in the platform. So when you're logging into the high compliance model of Aconex, there will be that two-factor authentication. And then you can always see up at the top your name and organization. And this is important, or it's an important concept to the data neutrality. No one can be an overlord seeing all data in other organizations' workspaces. So again, the security and compliance with all of the controls. So right when I get into the platform, I do have additional project details. You can attach as many files as need be for project information, or you can attach up to 6 files, excuse me, for project information, just for any organization logging into the platform to see those and have those visible. Then we also have additional shortcuts And over on the left-hand side is going to be my projects that I have been invited to. So you will only see any of the projects that you have been explicitly invited to and nothing else. And then the first page that we have, which is the home page, is going to be all of the tasks that require your attention. So you have a nice layout of any unreads. Anything that might be overdue will also show up in red. So if they have an associated timeline with it, that would let me know. It's a visual indicator to let me know I need to take care of that immediately. And then it is also going to be built out into the different categories or spaces of Aconex, such as mail, documents, packages, and supplier documents. So it's a nice to-do list, it's actionable, and easy to read. So the modules up at the top are going to be what is available. And then we're going to be focusing on packages today. So work packages are a way to efficiently control and manage the thousands of accumulated project processes and the associated information with it. So within packages, you can see we have 168, but this can be refined to only show, what you're looking for. So Aconex uses metadata rather than a folder structure because of, we've learned that it's not objective. Not every person is going to think the way that you do when you're organizing the information. Not everybody would, assign the appropriate title at some point. So we've managed to create a way that you're able to objectively find the information, and that is using the metadata or filters. So if I know the package number and package title, I can go ahead and type that in. But we also have more filters that we can go through and associate to find what we need to find. We can also pin these so that they're visible up from this top search bar. And then once you are ready to actually go through and input or input the data that you're looking for, if it's something that you're commonly searching for, you can save the search. And as you can see, we have quite a few fields, but that is also up to you. So we're managing multiple different projects within this actual project. But you can save the search up at the top. So that'll showcase here. And you can also utilize the different columns in order to create the view that you actually want. So for this instance, I'm going to go into system packages. And now that showcases the additional metadata that I've added to find what I need to find. So within the saved search, I have 3 different packages, which are all up to date. I can see the revision, the package type, facility ID, and additional details that help me know that this is what I was looking to find. Now, packages also has the ability to create hierarchies. So if you have, the overall package and then different sub-packages for potentially different organizations that you're working with on parts of this package, or however you need to actually divvy it up. So the packages are really going to provide that required level of control, breaking the project into multiple different sections so that you can more easily manage and track design and construction information. If I go into this mechanical floor 1 design, the first thing that I'm going to see is the properties for the package. And you can actually determine what properties are necessary when you create a different package type. So when you're going through the setup process, getting into Aconex, you can determine what that might be. If I go into edit, that will show me the additional properties that I can associate with this package. For instance, who the owner is. Maybe we're working with the Navy, and then what the building code is. So these are different drop-down menus that we've created that are appropriate for this particular project. And then down at the bottom, we have all of the associated documents that have already been uploaded into the system. If I needed to add additional documents, I have the option to go into my document register, or I can actually upload from my local computer. So again, utilizing metadata to search across my document or information register. You can see that we have quite a few, but we can unpin and pin as needed. But this gets into the granular details of what might be on a construction project after a certain amount of time. So once the associated properties are aligned with this package, we can then determine, who might actually need to have this information. So first we have all of the documents. Again, this is going to showcase everything that's in here, all of the information, and we have additional capabilities within each of these documents. So if I open one up, that'll show me the specific properties, the type, discipline, revision, as well as the status, all of the important information. Now I can download with the markup summary or download the file, but there's some additional details within Aconex that I might find, or you might find handy when you're going through this. So we've talked about the ironclad audit trail. And that is going to keep the revision and every single revision and version of a document that has been uploaded and or sent to us within the document register. So if I go into the viewer, I can see what has been added to this document, if any collaboration has happened, which it looks like there are 6 different comments here. And then we can utilize the markup mode to actually add additional markups. So this will help through the workflow process as well as collaboration with any documents that you're working with. So again, we have the history. I can go back and see different versions and revisions of the document and see what has actually changed. I can also do a file comparison, which will load this file and give me the option to choose from the other revisions and versions that have been added to the platform. If I wanted to see further information, I could go into the event log. This is going to be every single thing that has happened to this document, whether it's been viewed, previewed, downloaded, locked, sent through a workflow, all of that information. And then I can also see the different package events that have happened from a high level, but we do have an audit trail within the package itself as well. So for the correspondence piece of this, we have mail items that we can send out, which is still going to utilize the mail forms. And as you can see, we have quite a few, but this is just going to be the plain form before anything has been determined. As you can see, when I choose a different type, such as instruction, that is going to change the capabilities or what I need to add into this mail item or correspondence in order for it to be effective and timely. As you can see, we can set a due date, and then we have an appropriate, we have the directory available, which is only going to be the project directory, although you can assign certain people to distribution instructions. Now, if we go into a request for information, perchance, that is going to add additional details, and you can see that the distribution rules have already been applied, which you can see when you actually preview this mail item. So again, these are all going to be drop-down menus that we've associated with this project that can be applied to different areas for, again, getting the fastest turnaround time on that information, making sure the other organizations have visibility into when it's due, when you need answers by, and of course, providing the appropriate information to that organization in the first place. So you're not going back and forth and having different subjects or titles that are associated with the same discussion. So as far as attachments, you can add attachments here, as well as collaborators, which is when we get into who is the administrator and editor of this package, and the distribution list. So these are all of the people who will be receiving either the package itself or any review items. And dependent upon the package permissions, you might have the ability to edit when you're actually sending that out. Now we can also see any reviews that have happened in the past, as well as an event log, which is going to be divided into different events and sub-events. So administrators edited and they added one Oracle administrator. So as you can see, it's going to document out all of the different, anything that's happened with this package. All right, and then once you've confirmed that all of the information is there, you can send a package, which is going to utilize the mail module and is a transmittal. So we want to make sure that you are intentionally sending information when you're working with this platform, especially due to the security level of the information. For instance, if it was controlled and classified information, we need to make sure that only the appropriate people are going to see and review the information. All right, so I took you through a really fast overview that touched on multiple modules, but a package is a great way to provide that required level of control and have it set up so that you have different sub-levels of information that's easily organized, easily findable, and you ensure collaboration with the appropriate parties. I'm just going to jump back into my slides here as far as the final few, and then we can leave some time for any questions that may have come up. So as far as Aconex is concerned, we provide, project delivery insights for productivity as well as control. And then getting ramped up on Aconex will be done either with your partner or with Oracle themselves, but we do have additional processes to go through when you're getting ramped up in the solution itself. We also have a knowledge base, which is Aconex Support Central, and that goes through documented information for each of the modules that are contained within Aconex. So we have a high compliance Support Central as well that covers that information, provides any information about the updates that we've made or the service or maintenance windows that will be happening with the platform. So you can see any updates there. It's also available directly from within Aconex. You can ask questions that are going to be, and you'll receive contextual answers for the actual page that you're on. So thank you so much for providing this time and, attending the webinar today. We really appreciate it. And now I think we have time for any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Oracle team, for the presentation. It was awesome to learn more about Aconex and Oracle Primavera Cloud. Not sure when this came up, but question that came up was, why should I care about data ownership?
So as far as caring about data ownership, it's your project and you want to have the visibility and control that is needed to successfully deliver on that project and make sure that things are going smoothly and happening as needed. So really controlling your own data is going to help with that. And it's also going to help the downstream organizations, third parties, any vendors that are also on this project feel safe that their information isn't going to be taken away from them. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but there's no way to actually, completely remove somebody from the system once they've been set up in their own workspace. And that is one of the things that causes the most stress about uploading and maintaining your information in a platform that has been given to you by another organization. You know, at any point they can decide, we don't want to continue working with you, we're going to push you out of the platform, and then you don't have visibility into your own data. And because of the data neutrality aspect of Aconex, you don't have to worry about that. You might be kicked off the project, but you will never lose access to your data and insights from that project.
Another question that came up was government contractors are usually someone's sharing their screen again, by the way.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Or it popped over to another screen. Just want to make sure. Government contractors are usually responsible for managing these types of project details. What's a rationale for us, end users, or us as a client, to take the cost and responsibility of purchasing Aconex?
So again, that kind of goes back to the data ownership model, making sure that everything is going smoothly on the project. You want to have access to your own data. And because it's your project, you want to ensure the success of that project itself. So really having the GC be the one to maintain and control all of that data is not to your advantage. You have no insights. You have to constantly ask for any updates that are going on the platform. And this applies to OPC too, because you can add and, add important information to the client and any stakeholders that are working on the project. And Eileen, I don't know if you wanted to add some more information there as far as the OPC side.
Yeah, I think it covers it for that as well.
Okay, great.
We'll give it a few seconds here to give everyone some time to ask their questions. Again, if you have any questions regarding any of the information presented, please feel free to use the Q&A. Going once, going twice. Well, if anything, we can give everyone some time back in their day to actually go view the first part of the presentation if you missed it. But thank you everyone for joining today's Technology Spotlight, and we look forward to seeing you next month's Technology Spotlight. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Thanks so much.